Well, hello, welcome to my first cross stitch video. I'm sorry if the quality is really bad. I'm having to record it on my laptop in not ideal lighting conditions because it seems we've lost our USB cord for the camcorder in the move, because we've just moved house kind of recently. So I will be on the laptop until my cord comes in. I have ordered one from eBay, so hopefully it won't take too long. I'll do my best with the conditions I have, and I'll get straight into it because it's probably going to be a pretty long video. I thought that my first one I should go into sort of a bit of my history, give you an overall look of what I've done so far, and then next week I can get a little more detailed and show you what I'm working on now. There's been a cross-stitch tag going around. I'm not going to answer it as a tag, but I will use sort of the questions to help my story, I guess. I'm sorry if I'm not making much sense. I'm pretty brain dead at the moment, but I'd rather get this up than put it off for another week, and sleep can wait, kind of. Anyway, I'll get into it. I first discovered cross-stitching probably 8 years ago now, I want to say, about that. It was not long after I had my son Samuel, and he'll be 9 in October. I was a stay-at-home mum, and still technically am, and I was getting really bored. So a friend suggested that I start cross-stitching, and I fell in love with it instantly. Unfortunately, I haven't been stitching non-stop since then because my darling son decided that he didn't want me to. First, he pretty much ate the pattern conversion that told me what symbol was what colour, so I couldn't actually finish my first project. And not long after that, I had started putting together a second project. I don't think I actually had anything started, and he got to all of my threads and mixed them up, and I had at least 50 of them. I had a lot of threads because if you get to know me, I sort of hop all in. I don't start small. And yeah, I didn't know what colour was what. They were tangled. I put it away and just decided it wasn't going to work. Then after I had my daughter Elise, Samuel was in preschool, which is, I don't know what it is where you're from. He was 4, so whatever that is, your equivalent at school. Elise was 1. I'm like, well, I'll pick it up again. This is about the age that Samuel was when I started, and it worked okay until he destroyed things. You know, be a little bit more careful. But Elise was a lot more attention hungry than Samuel ever was, so again, I didn't actually get a lot done before I had to pack it away. And recently it just occurred to me that both my kids are now in school, so I can do it again. And to my surprise and delight, there is now an awesome community on YouTube, which hasn't existed before. Every other time I've searched for cross stitch, it's come up with pretty much nothing, but I digress. I did pick up my whip, but I really wanted to start something new and get that excitement, and my whip's at that point where it's kind of tedious because there's pretty much confetti in everything I do. And I'm actually really excited for my new start. I'll show you a photo of that at the end. But I'll show you what I did get done in the little amounts of stitching time, and hopefully it will show up. I will have a coordinating blog post every week that will have sort of better, closer photos and I guess better quality. It's really hard to show things on YouTube sometimes, so I'll leave the link to that below, but I'll get into it. As I said, it's going to be long. So this is what I got done of my first project. Hopefully you can see in the lighting. I did have the DMC pattern creator. I'm not sure what the exact title of the program was, and so I made this pattern from a photo I had, and because it was sort of outdated when I picked it up, I tried to recreate the pattern when Samuel lost the conversion, but I just couldn't recreate it properly, so it's forever going to be unfinished. I think you can sort of see here a bit of confetti down here that I'd missed. the 2 blocks, or was that 4 blocks? That's probably 4 blocks up here. I think I had another 2 rows, but it was pretty much finished, and I love it because tigers are my spirit animal and I love them, and I would have a pet tiger if I could. I am going to try and recreate this picture because I'm pretty sure I still have it on my computer. Eventually I will be getting a new program I've just discovered. That'll come later though. And this is a bit embarrassing. I'm quite horrified when I look at it now. I was self-taught cross-stitching. I didn't really look up tutorials or anything or research. I jumped right in, as I said, as I often do, and I had a spaghetti monster on the back. I pretty much went from one side of the project to another with no regard for the back. As I said, it's horrifying looking at it now. I would never, like, I don't expect my backs to be as neat as my front. I will never achieve that. I'm just not good enough. But that's scary. That's wrong. So yeah, unfortunately, this is my first project, which I think is one of the questions in the tag, but it's not my first finish, which makes me really sad. Okay, moving on from that, I'm pretty sure after that I made patterns. As I said, I had the pattern creator. So after the tiger fiasco, I did put it away, as I mentioned, and I'm not sure whether to count these next ones as whips or finishes. I'd taken a photo of a flower I had received as part of a bunch, and that was the stage when I was going through my photography bug, and I made it negative. Had this grand idea of doing sort of a cube effect. I had 9 cross stitches in total, sort of alternating normal exposure and negative exposure, and I have 3 done, so I've got a third of the project done. And so that's why what I mean when I say I don't know whether to count them as finishes or whips. I will show you. So this is the first one I did, and I don't know if you can see. I'll try and get a close-up in my blog post, but one of my children got to this with highlighter that I was using to mark off my patterns. I don't know if you can, as I said, the lighting's really bad. Anyway, so this is my first one I picked up. As you can see, a little bit better with the threads. I did that one. This one is exactly the same and improving again. And then this one is the negative. So I do have 3, and I'll make sort of a mock-up in editing for my blog what the 9 will eventually look like. And then sort of that gives you some idea. That would be the top and the bottom row, and then it's sort of, I'm sorry, words escaping me. So yes, I've got 3 of those. Whips kind of, finishes kind of as well. As you can see, I do have tape stopping the fraying, and I have left myself no room for framing or whatever. I will figure out how to frame them. But again, I didn't actually research anything, I just jumped in, so yeah, I'll make it work. Now, the entire reason I only have 3 and not 9 is metallic thread. I know I have heard so many of you talking about metallic thread, and I did know I don't know what DMC was thinking and why they haven't fixed it, but it is absolutely disgusting to work with. I didn't realise when I created this pattern that it was metallic, and honestly I don't know if it adds anything to the project, so yeah. I have been putting off the other 6 because I just don't want to deal with the metallic. I might do everything but on the other 6 and then just have a horrible time stitching metallic for a month or two. But yeah, that's I want to finish this. It means a lot. I love the colours. I love the idea of what it's going to be. I've just got to get over myself and just deal with the metallic for a while. I know there are other options out there people say are nicer than DMC. The problem is I've got OCD, so not only do I need all 9 to match because they're the one project, so I would at least need DMC for this project. I've got OCD, so I only use DMC threads, which I guess answers another question on the tag. I can't bring myself to use another one. I did actually buy it, but I just couldn't. It's no. That's pretty much the reason I love cross stitching so much. It's nice to my OCD. It's all the same. It's all repetitive. It's lovely. It's awesome. And my current whip is this little guy. He's adorable. I have a photo here of what he will hopefully look like. I'm undecided what to do. I don't know how clear he's going to come out once he is complete, but I don't like the idea of back stitching, not so much because of what it is. I've never tried it and it looks fairly simple, but because this was a created program, I wouldn't know where to put it or what to do, so I think I'm going to leave it. Like, I'll make the final decision when it's complete, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to leave it and deal with the fact it's not as clear as it could be and appreciate it for what it is. I was counting as I worked on this. I was just curious how long cross stitching actually took, and I think it would have been a good idea not to. I think I'm quite a slow stitcher, not only because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I may do things not in the most timely way of doing it, and there's pretty much nothing but confetti in my created patterns. But this is 56 hours worth of work, so I'm kind of terrified as to how long my next project will take. Yeah, so I'm probably between halfway and 3/4 way done on that. Yeah, that's 56 hours. But I enjoyed it, so it's not like it's wasted time. I don't have a favourite designer, obviously, because the only ones I've stitched so far are ones that I've created. I think I definitely have a theme. I don't want to offend anyone. There's nothing against them. I don't like them. Please, this is personal opinion. I don't like cross stitches that look like cross stitches. That probably makes no sense, but I don't like the samplers or the little bitty tiny quick stitches. I don't like the look of it. Have nothing against people who like it, and I've seen some and they look beautiful, but it's not something that I would ever do or want to display. It's just like I may do birth samplers because of the nature of what they are, but even that, I haven't found one that looks nice enough and not like a sampler. So I prefer things that look like paintings or photographs, or like, it doesn't have to look realistic, but it sort of needs to be more leaning towards the art than cross stitching. And I'm sorry if I've upset anyone, but I just, when you spend so much time on it, you've got to really love it. Fabric of choice. I did go through a few trials when I first started. I've only ever used Ada. I don't know if I am going to attempt another type, again, because of my OCD. I don't know if I could have different projects in different types of fabric. And I know this may sound ridiculous, but it's not something I can really control when it's compulsive behaviour. It gives me anxiety for things to be different, so why do that to myself? As I was saying, so I've only used Ada. I did try a couple of different sizes, and I love the 18. it seems sort of the ideal for me. I did try the 14, the 16 and the 18. The 14 was just too big. It looked something like a child should work on. And again, I'm sorry, please don't take offense to anything. I understand there are people out there that don't have very good vision. I'm one of them, but I put up with it because I just don't like the look of this 14. The 16 was getting better, but I found I had to use 3 threads to cover the holes, and with the way I stitch, I can't. I do the loop method, if that's actually a thing, so I need even number of threads. Sorry, I'm bumping the table. Needle threader or floss licker, neither. I don't have a threader, but I don't need to lick my floss to thread it. I sort of just pinch it between my thumb and forefinger and slide the needle onto it, and I've never had an issue, touch wood. I've never needed, I have nothing against floss licking. I do it all the time in my sewing to get it through that needle, but I just haven't needed to for cross stitch. What frame? I haven't used a frame before. All the others, as you saw, were quite small, so they were freehand. Didn't mind my tension. I thought it was okay. I didn't like the hoops. I did try them. Hated what they did to the fabric, and because I never actually finished one, I didn't get to see the end result when it was ironed and pretty. I have got one now for my new whip. I haven't started stitching it yet. I'm just gridding at the moment. But it's okay. I think it's like the Q-snap. It's not the official Q-snap frame, but it's the similar, like it's a knockoff version pretty much. It's not too bad. I have received a few injuries trying to put it on, and I do get a bit scared trying to take it off, but I think it's just a bit tight at the moment and it should hopefully improve. How I store the floss. I haven't got it set up at the moment. I have recently changed how I do it. I've tried a couple of different things. I tried the bow where you just stick the plastic thing in. I tried the cards where you wind them on. Neither of them worked for me because I found sort of an ideal length that I like to stitch with. Again, through trial and error, sort of seems to me be the ideal. I get enough stitches. I'm not changing too often. Hello, I got a visitor. Sorry, this is my baby. Get rid of my 2 babies to school and then we get another one. Thank you. I found the ideal length that worked for me. I wasn't changing too often. If I did happen to have a block of colour, it doesn't not. And because I have so many confetti stitches, it's it just seemed the least amount of waste. So the bow and the little card things didn't work because I wasn't able to wind it very well, I guess. I wanted to pre-cut the threads to save time when I have so many confetti all over the place, because I actually because I stitch a complete colour before I move on. I don't actually work in blocks, as you might have been able to tell from my frog. So I pre-cut my threads and I had to find some way of storing that. There's not a huge amount available here. I don't know if I'm just looking really poorly or whether there's nothing here, but quite often in both my cross stitching and my Filofax, I give up looking for what I want and I just make it myself. I did have a method that I had working really well when I was stitching with Elise, but it was just too bulky and it doesn't work for me now because I now have got Filofaxes. I can't use normal ring binders, again with the OCD and needing everything the same. and with the Filofaxes that I choose, they're kind of too expensive to have as just holding thread. So I had to come up with a new storage, which I have done. I'm almost positive it'll work because I kind of know what works. Well, thank you for the kisses. I just haven't set it up yet. I will show. Oh, sorry, baby. This is my bag of threads. I'm so sorry for the glare. There's a lot in here. I'll just pull one out to show you sort of what I do. I hope the rest don't go flying. So each thread is kept in little tiny Ziploc bag thing. In the last storage, I actually stapled these to pieces of cardboard. I think I had 8 per page, kept it in a sleeve protector, kept it in a folder, and it worked great. Oh, thank you, baby. Oh, no, it's not for you. But as I said, now I can't use the folder, so I have had to. Oh, bothead. I have had to change it slightly. I kept the basic idea because I do like these little bags. Yeah, so this is the size of my threads. I just, from the top here, you can see, I'll put the needle in, pull one out at a time, and then, so it is this long, which is 30 centimeters, or I think it's a foot in American, I don't know. I don't work in inches or feet, it confuses me. But I do, as I said, use the loop method, so fold it in half, so it's about 15 centimeters to work with. It may not look like much, I've seen people work with a lot longer, but as I said, it just worked for me. The perfect length for me is the length of skein, so it's really easy for me to actually cut it. When I first started and discovered the length, I was measuring it, and then, yeah, pure coincidence, I happened to see that it fit. So what I do is cut it to length, I thread the floss number back onto it, then I fold it in half, and then I get this little doobit that sort of sits at the other end, and then thread it through so it keeps it together, keeps it nice and pretty. And even if the kids do take it out of the case, or because I did have these numbered, it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, I, as I said, love it. Haven't looked back since I have done it this way. I can show you in next. Might have seen Luna's. Oh, that was Luna, by the way. Luna's whiskers across the camera. Anyway, I can show you next week how I cut it. It's really not hard. It's like one cut, a little bit of fiddling, and you're done. And I will also show my storage next week because it will be done by then. I guess I will show you my upcoming project. It's a heaven and earth design. I've loved so many of their designs. I actually went through last week and put together a wish list that they've got on their website. I think I had about 90 patterns, so yeah, there's a lot. But anyway, this is going to be my first one. It's called, there we go, Fairy Bubbles, and I just think it is so adorable. I love the cascading repetitive effect, and I think it's just beautiful. It's a lot bigger than I expected, but I think it'll look good. So that's what I'm going to be starting on, hopefully over the weekend or on Monday. I am gridding it at the moment. I'll just give you a quick sneak peek. It's not going to be exciting, it's just gridding, but it's huge. I don't know how well that's going to pick up on camera, but I've just done little crosses. I'm almost halfway done with the gridding. Never done gridding before because, you know, tiny, didn't need them, but I really didn't want to make any mistakes with this because whereas a lot of people can kind of let a stitch or two slide, I wouldn't be able to. Even if I had one stitch wrong, I would have to find it and I would have to fix it, and it would drive me insane if I didn't. I am a little concerned that these are going to come out when I'm stitching. So, had to take it off the frame. So yes, I've got a little thing up here for top left. I did the border of it first, which I am so thankful I did. It was a massive pain, but initially it was because I wanted to make sure that I'd measured correctly and I didn't want to sort of leave more room at one end than the other. Now I'm so thankful I did because I don't have to count every single 10 stitches. I just line it up and it's great. It's going to be massive. I don't know if you can see that. I'm sorry if you can't. I will probably not take photos of this for my blog. That'll be next week when I start my project. As I was saying, I am a little concerned that they're going to pull out as I'm stitching because they're just loose threads. I haven't tied them off, which, you know, hindsight, I probably should have just done a little simple knot. I'll see how it goes. I can always add one or two back in if I need to, but hopefully it won't be more than that. Should be good. And then, thanks to Sticky Stitches, or Aish, I have discovered a program on the tablet that is going to change the way I do things. Normally I would print it off. That's my frog. Print it off, color it in pencil, just because I do all with one colour, and then go back and highlight it. But now I've got it in the program, and I will link this video of Aish's in there, and I discovered I can colour it in with a highlighter, and then when I want to mark off that it's done, I can go in, and I don't know how you're going to be able to see this, but if you go over it in another colour, it mixes the two together, and even if it didn't and just replaced it, that's fine. So I can actually show a difference between my stitches that I want to stitch and stitches I've completed. So I am so excited, and thank you so much, Aish. I haven't actually used it, but I can imagine it would be a lot easier than pencil and highlighter, and to be honest, I'm a lot happier not having highlighters around. It's one of those things, they are the bane of my existence. The kids seem to get to them and destroy something with them. Yeah, so I'm really excited to be stitching it on that, with that program. There's one thing I don't like about it, but it may just be user error rather than the program. It took me a long time to highlight those because I kept hitting the wrong thing without realizing it, and then I'd have a stitch highlighted that I didn't want, and I couldn't find a way to unhighlight something, but I'll have a play around with it, and if it's not there, then I'll just be really careful, because, you know, if that's the problem, then I'm doing pretty good. There is one last thing I want to sort of tell you before I go. My big, massive wish project that I've been wanting to do since I discovered cross-stitching. I will insert a photo here because I don't have it with me to show you. This is going to be massive. I created the chart before I realised how long it actually takes to cross-stitch, and now I no longer have that chart because of the program issues, but it's in my head and I need to do it. It will be 1.5 meters by 1 meter. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. I'll leave a little thing down here with the conversion once I've googled it. It's going to be huge, but I think it will look amazing, and I honestly can't wait to get that started. But I do need to buy the ADA and buy the program, so it will be a little while, and I've got a pretty fairy bubbles to keep me entertained until then. I think I've wasted enough of your time. I hope I've covered everything. If there is something major, I guess I'll include it in my blog, and something that requires more attention, I'll have it in next week's. I am planning on making weekly videos. They will be up every Friday, and the corresponding blog post will also be up on Friday. I will leave it there for now though. If there's anything that you want me to cover or I haven't answered, leave it down below. I'll reply in comments, or I will do a separate video or include it in a video. But I'm going to go because I'm rambling and very quite tired. Until next time, bye.